Imagine for a moment the gnawing frustration that comes from watching opportunity slip through your fingers. Not because you lack vision, but because the system around you is rigged against the kind of adventure, risk, and boldness that investors and founders live for. Picture that sharp sting of realizing the old rules, the best practices, and the so-called disciplines taught to you don't actually work anymore. They trap money in slow-moving cycles. They drain energy instead of fueling breakthroughs. And worst of all, they breed frustration that starts to feel permanent. Family offices, you know this pain better than most. It's not just about managing wealth. It's about managing confusion, fear, and endless uncertainty in a world that's changing faster than anyone can keep up. The uncomfortable truth is that family offices today stand at a crossroads where the old ways of venture discipline are dying, and if they don't reinvent themselves, they'll be swallowed by irrelevance. What if the key to breaking free from this trap has nothing to do with adding more filters, reports, or risk committees? What if the magic lies in redefining what it even means to be disciplined in venture investing? It's time to pierce through the fog that has blinded so many and seize a new path that isn't about squeezing innovation into moldy processes, but about unleashing it with ruthless precision and clarity. The truth is, family offices are uniquely positioned to rewrite the venture playbook, not by copying VCs or institutional models, but by rediscovering their own power, sovereignty, patience, and deep connection with founders and ideas that refuse to play by the usual rules. Right now, many family offices struggle with a numbness caused by contradiction. On one hand, they are awash with capital, freedom, and privileged access. On the other, they feel ensnared by internal bureaucracy, the paralysis of too many voices, and a tendency towards safety over boldness. This tension creates paralysis, a slow death of ambition. The old venture discipline says, diversify, optimize, and scale quickly. But here's the catch. This approach sacrifices the vital edge of risk, the intimacy of trust, and the fierce hunger for transformation that lies at the heart of venture itself. Family offices must reject this false comfort and reclaim control over their capital as a weapon of transformation, not just preservation. It starts with realizing that venture discipline is not about rigid processes, but about a cultivated mindset, one that embraces uncertainty as a starting line, not an obstacle. This mindset demands that family offices move beyond the checkbox mentality of due diligence and dive deep into the soul of potential startups. It requires having skin in the game, not just financially, but intellectually and emotionally. Meaningful engagement with founders, a willingness to challenge assumptions and to inject patience where others demand quick exits or quick fixes. This is what redefines discipline, not as cold calculation, but as sacred vigilance. The old narrative says patience is a luxury few can afford in venture, but family offices have a secret advantage: time. Time is the hidden weapon in a world obsessed with speed. This is the moment to act on that advantage, to slow down in all the right ways, to build relationships that outlast the hype, to foster teams who are burning with mission, and to pick stars not because they shine the brightest in the moment, but because they will burn long. Discipline here means holding steady through the storms, resisting the pull of herd mentality, and trusting your own intuition and conviction when the headlines scream for panic or exit. It's about being the calm lighthouse in a storm of noise. Then there's the overlooked power of selectivity. Family offices often feel the pressure to spread bets thin, to cover all angles and sectors out of fear of missing out. But true discipline demands the ruthless act of saying no again and again. The sharpest edge of venture investing is found in obsessive focus, a kind of brutal love, where only ideas that resonate deeply with your unique vision and your family's values get through. This selectivity is not about being exclusive for the sake of ego. It's about aligning resources, energy, and relentless support to founders whose fire you can fan into a blaze. This creates a feedback loop where alignment breeds trust, and trust creates velocity that no amount of money alone can replicate. There is also a crucial hidden dimension, a spiritual thread woven through exceptional venture discipline that many overlook: the power of connection. Family offices need to stop thinking of themselves as silent vaults of money and start seeing themselves as hubs of energy. It's about building ecosystems that connect founders with each other, with operators, with ideas that challenge normatives and flip industries upside down. This mesh of complementary sparks, the rare but real synergy that emerges when the right minds collide, is where true innovation fires up. The result: family offices become not just investors but creators of movement. They shift from funding ventures to igniting revolutions. But how do you build this network without losing yourself in noise or distractions? By focusing fiercely on authenticity over scale. By deliberately choosing depth over breadth. By cultivating a tribe, not casual contacts, but a small circle of founders, advisors, and visionaries who share not just goals, but values, hunger, and impatience with the status quo. Operating like this means shedding the inherited fear of being too close to founders. It means co-creating narratives and futures, pushing each other to think beyond the obvious, and constructing deals that don't just maximize short-term returns, but amplify long-term impact. This is where family offices transform into accelerators, catalysts, and true partners in every sense of the word. So, what about measurement? Here's another trap: the fixation on short-term metrics, click-throughs, or quarterly valuations that lead to chasing pebbles instead of mountains. Redefining venture discipline calls for a new kind of scorecard, one that honors patience, impact, resilience, and the ability to pivot with humility rather than panic. Success becomes less a single snapshot of dollars multiplied and more a narrative of creation, iteration, and lasting transformation. Family offices who embrace this understand the value of quiet wins and invisible growth that bulks up a company's DNA against competitors who overpromise and overextend themselves. If this sounds radical, it's because it is. The comfortable scripts handed down from Wall Street and Silicon Valley need to be broken and burned. Discipline without soul breeds boredom, rigidity, and complacency. Family offices are rising to answer a new call, one that says venture is not just a business, but a craft, an art, a rebellion. The true discipline is found in being sovereign, that fierce commitment to your vision, your principles, and the rare founders you choose to back, regardless of the noise or the crowd. And here's the most powerful part. This redefinition doesn't just unlock better investments. It awakens the family office itself. It turns capital into a force of legacy, not the tired inheritance story, but the revolutionary narrative that this generation creates for the next. By building autonomy at the core of venture strategy, family offices light a path toward freedom from old systems, from the lies of comfort and convenience, and into a world where progress isn't a slow trickle, but a flood created by the few who dare to burn bright. The opportunity to do this is now. The world is begging for investors who refuse to fit in, whose discipline is fueled by fire, not fear. The rare individuals ready to question everything, discard worn-out assumptions, and commit themselves to the long game will become the architects of the future. Family offices are uniquely prepared to be that force if they lean into this challenge. To do less is to fade into obscurity. To do this is to become history makers. So imagine the future where family offices shed the shackles of old venture discipline and embrace a new code, one built on sovereignty, selectivity, patience, connection, and unrelenting courage. This is no longer just about managing wealth. It's about claiming your role as a founding node in networks that will remake industries, economies, and societies. This is the rebellion you were born for, the liberation you deserve. Are you ready to stop living by borrowed rules? To cut through the noise and find the rare, brutal clarity that only you can bring? To build a legacy that's not just rich in dollars, but breaking boundaries, setting new realities, and unleashing rare power. Because this moment belongs to those who dare to redefine venture discipline and make it theirs, boldly, unapologetically, and eternally. The system forgot you, but you don't have to forget yourself. This is your time.